I won't bore you with all the chapters, but I will read part of the seventh chapter, entitled A Path Builder, which is what I am. As feds destroy all. Paths to greater knowledge, always possible. But it takes an open mind to see new things. It took more than 300 years for people to accept Galileo's reasoning of the sun being the center of our solar system and it not being Earth. The reason it took so long for society to accept reality is because the church wanted to maintain control. And that meant man on earth was to be worshipped and listened to. The fear of the church is that people would start worshiping the sun and stop listening to what man told the little ones, those in charge, took care of. Amazingly, 500 years later, not a single thing has changed in the people's minds, even in the information age. So I came to a spot in the country where I knew people would be at night and see what I see in less smart light lit areas. Fail. It looks more like day here than daytime. For your safety. Everyone is too distracted with either music to hear and too blinded by light, placed higher than a basketball hoop, approximately 14 feet, to see anything at all. If you notice on streets, and especially freeways, the minimum height is 20 feet, and at interstate intersections, closer to 100. The higher, the brighter lights, the more of the universe our government can hide from us on purpose. I build paths of truth, and people who know I am right deny it and say I am wrong. Something is very wrong in the world where nobody agrees with reason and facts and feels it is their right to believe wrong things just because a majority of people agree with the error narrative as the truth. My mom and my friend Holly are the worst offenders of denial of logic and rational thinking I've shared for a decade. And I've stopped trying to change the programming and propaganda they hold near and dear to their hearts. By moving far away to a too expensive place for most people to survive a sustained amount of time, I've taken a huge risk to chart a new path. The way I figured is that being in proximity of people with influence combined with my musical talent, that I would land a gig or two that would slow the gushing funds, and I would meet people who would support my mission. Well, as luck would have it, All the bleeding has completely stopped, and I might be cash positive for the first time in 7 years, in only the 3rd month of calling the Keys my new hometown. Although a narrative has preceded many of the first interactions I'm having, very little of it, if any, is believed for very long. People recognize pretty quickly that I'm about as normal as the next person. And that conclusion means they draw a second conclusion as well. But it's in my favor completely. Because the told narrative is that silencing is a goal of government. It means I must have something rather important to tell, which means people take me a lot more seriously than ever. And even my best friends in Ohio would have never seen that if I had stayed there. For as long as these beautiful Keys have been known, it's not just a sanctuary for ocean and Gulf waves, but also for people to be unknown and a safe place to hide for common and rich folk alike. Even though I'm a commoner, I have a very uncommon narrative. One people have never heard before. But I back up my words with my feet. I create my path. I'm not chained in one location, screaming at myself, as I was viewed in my old neighborhood, because I owned property there, too, and had a valid reason to gripe and bitch. I've taken my message almost 50,000 miles, as long as birthing a baby takes. I've taken care of myself instead of allowing CPD to take care of me, to please neighbors and give them what they want. It's a sad truth. The police treat friends of theirs very differently than the enemies of those friends. Due diligence is a law, but if police think there is no basis to pursue something, they don't have to. They get to choose who they serve. It's not legal, but it's totally believed. If enough people agree with them. Chapter's not done yet, but that's okay. There's more to write. You see, in the reality that we live today, there's so many things that media hides. And they do it on purpose. And sometimes by accident. I mean, investigative journalism is kind of done. And 60 Minutes was about the last best thing that there ever was. And now they have a new owner, so I really don't even know if I trust them anymore either. So what's happened is that the networks all tell the same narrow narrative. And if you want something different, you have to find it online. And sure, there are popular podcasts and all sorts of other things, but people that don't agree with it don't ever go to those things. So it's not really mainstream. It's speaking in a vacuum. I don't know how to fix that, but I will never stop telling the truth about science, and NASA's got a big problem on their hands. Here, let me go ahead and show some of the pictures that I plan to publish in my book, Free Energy for We. It's Time to Believe. The first title was The Hoax of 69, but that's not sellable. So I changed it to something more sellable. So here is a picture from NASA that has an arrow down into the very corner. Do you see that? Well, I blew it up because I thought that's really odd. And this is what I saw. Do you see that? Now, if that's the edge of our atmosphere, that means that a bunch of dangerous radiation is coming through that Apollo picture taken way back in 1969 or 70. Here's another one. Here's a moon boot. I don't know. It looks like something that's ready for a garbage can, doesn't it? You think that protected them from cosmic radiation? Because what shielding do you see around that? Here's another one. You ready for this? These two pictures were taken from our International Space Station on the same day, January 10th, 2025. Take a look at the first one. How many stars do you see? Probably can't count them all, can you? Here's the next one, taken on the same day. I don't count one. How is that possible? Here's another one. This is a silent picture movie. I'll read it to you. Rubber turns to glass at minus 58 degrees. The lie that the day is warm enough for rubber to not shatter is proven true. The lie is true. Because it's negative 200 degrees on the moon all the time. Why? Look at the bottom. Trapped gases heat Earth. But the moon has no atmosphere. So sunlight doesn't heat it up because it's not in a trapped atmosphere. NASA's lied. And they keep lying. And they keep feeding you with bullshit in your head. When are you going to wake up? Congress just committed $250 billion. Do you know how much that works out to every American alive today? $750. I think it's time for a rebate check for everyone that's alive. NASA needs to stop the scamming today.